So let's settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture, both feet flat on the floor, and have your shoulders align with your hips, your ears align with your shoulders, maybe even your ribs aligned with your pelvis. And imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And imagine you're lengthening your spine, putting some space in between the vertebrae. And then just go to the crown of the head and relax your scalp. Relax your forehead, your eyebrows, your eyes, even your eyelashes and the back of the eye, and the nose, the cheeks, the area around your mouth, the upper lip, the lower lip. Relax the jaw and the temples, the ears, the inner ears, the back of the head. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. And just allow a little bit of length in the back of the neck. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. Just be aware if there are any, external sounds in your environment, just allowing them to be there. Can also be something you smell as well. Just any kind of sensory information that might be distracting. So just deal with it and allow, by allowing it to be there. It's just doing its own thing. And then notice what's going on in your mind. Try and put some space in between your mind. So it's been, like 14 hours or so since 13 or 14 hours since we did our morning meditation. So just, think, how was your mind this morning when we did that meditation, and how is it now? Has anything changed? And no problem if it hasn't. So just feel that. And then, all these stories we make up in our mind, and we create scenarios of things that are going to happen in the future. And then we start getting all emotional about it and have feelings and about something that we just made up. So you can see how crazy that is. It's a bit scary, but we all do it all the time. And then bring to mind all the people of your life. So your loved ones, your strangers, the ones you don't like so much who just irritate the heck out of you. Remembering that they are able to change place at any time due to karma and impermanence. Things shift and change. And then just remember, though, no matter how you think about anyone, they're all equal. They all have this unbelievable capacity for enlightenment. They all have a wish to be happy, just like you and me, and they all want to be free of suffering, just like you and me. So then we'll do this practice this evening for all these people of our life. We have some people in our little group here. We have Kimberly's not here tonight. It's going to be more and more of that. She's going to be able to come less and less. But she is on Facebook. So you can communicate with her through there. She's quite active right now. So think of our precious Kimberly. She's been such an extraordinary, well, still is an extraordinary member of our group, but will not be here in a few months from what she's telling us. So she had her final think it was chemo today, and that was not to cure, but to prevent more pain. And in the hospital that she was at, they have a little bell that you can ring when you've completed your chemotherapy. So it seems to be a tradition there. So there was a video of her doing that today on Facebook. And there may be others in your own life who you want to think about and dedicate this practice for. So imagine there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, and we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And then also regret any anger and attachment, our delusions, basically, that are the cause of why we harm others, and then think, I'm sick of this suffering. And then, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we rely upon this Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. So this beautiful, white, radiant, translucent Buddha above the crown of your head. This healing Buddha, this protecting Buddha, this purifying Buddha. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has a radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result a suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And so then we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body, in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, drita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is this purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe. So again, feel really happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech, and that includes yourself. So now imagine the purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends these powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you just imagine you've walked into a room, it's pitch black, and you just reach out, flick on the switch, and the light comes immediately and dispels the darkness. So you think the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and neediness, bitterness, grudges, depression, anxiety, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So now we purify even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar. So you imagine the nectar coming down from the top, pushing out from the bottom parts of the body, all of the negativity of the body, and then pushing up through the top parts of the body, all the negativity of the speech. And then the light comes, and this is all happening at the same time. And the light comes and just kind of blasts all those delusions of the mind. And now you've eradicated even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. Now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process, and it's a really crucial one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So without making this kind of a decision, we're just going to keep following the same old habit patterns over and over again. And this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new and more positive directions. So you have to kind of want this. You've got to aspire to it. So rejoice in your effort to come along here this evening, this morning, this afternoon. And think of something you want to work on between now and Monday when we come back to do our practice again. And just, maybe keep a record of your progress, maybe journal it. And then you can, when you're feeling a bit like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere, just look back and you'll see how far you've come. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind. He melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So we think in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, you can just place your mind there. You can think maybe all phenomena are empty. They don't exist from their own side. And you can think that the way things appear to me are kind of pretty much dependent on, the way I think, the way I perceive the world, the way my body is structured, the culture in which I live. So things, the way we perceive them may not exist that way. So a dog can smell, has a far superior sense of smell. So many more olfactory receptors in its nose than we do. I think tens of thousands more. Anyway, a lot more. So their worldview is very different to ours. And their sight is slightly diminished in terms of color than ours. So you see, it's a different world for a dog than it is for us. So which is the real one? So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do our chanting the names of Manjushri. Protector, are we up to this one? We're up to 6? I think we're up to 7. I think I said last night. Following. Oh, that's right. He said the following. Oh, omnipresent Lord, for my well-being, with due concern for me and for my sake, that I may reach complete awakening upon the basis of illusion's net, and for the sake of every living being sunk deep into the mud of ignorance, their thoughts disturbed by various afflictions, so that they may obtain the highest fruit. May you, the most supreme awakened one, the blessed one, the world's guru and teacher, who knows the great Samaya's reality, aware of wishes and abilities. So let's just have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for a swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And just think about all your own individual teachers and just pray that they will all live long. Okay, everybody, lots of love. Have a wonderful weekend.